The Ryzen 7700X3D is the new value X3D CPU for gaming in 2026. But what's the best graphics card, RAM, cooler, and motherboard for your Ryzen 7700X3D gaming PC build? Welcome back to PC Builder, I'm Jason. This 2026 Ryzen 7700X3D PC build guide covers everything you need for the best Ryzen 7700X3D build, including the best graphics card for the Ryzen 7700X3D, the best RAM for the Ryzen 7700X3D, the best motherboard for the Ryzen 7700X3D, best cooler for the Ryzen 7700X3D, and more. And we'll give you specific build templates for both a maximum value Ryzen 7700X3D build in 2026 and a premium Ryzen 7700X3D gaming PC build. Big thank you to AMD for sending us a pre-release sample. Give the video a like if you get value out of it, and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. So what's the best GPU for the Ryzen 7700X3D? We get the most FPS in a gaming PC build by buying the fastest graphics card that we can afford, then we just want to get a CPU that won't overly bottleneck it. But as our GPU gets more powerful in the mid and upper tiers, the CPU, it really does start to matter. Now this is especially true in CPU intensive titles or competitive titles like Marvel Rivals, Battlefield 6, or CS2, where lowered settings and resolution are used to maximize frame rates. The MSRP for the Ryzen 7700X3D is $329. Meanwhile, the Ryzen 7800X3D has often sold for $360 to $380 and is about 4% faster at 1080p with an RTX 5090. Then there's the Ryzen 7600X3D or the 7500X3D. They offer about 5% less gaming performance than the 7700X3D for around $240. Along with 2 fewer CPU cores. That puts the Ryzen 7700X3D in the sweet spot for upper mid-range graphics cards, and I'd start to consider the Ryzen 7700X3D over the slower Ryzen CPUs with an RTX 5070 or RX 9070 GRE GPU as the minimum. I'd definitely be considering it for the RX 9070, the RTX 5070 Ti, or RX 9070 XT graphics cards, especially given the large price difference to jump up to something like the RTX 5080, currently selling for $1,250. If you are buying a 5080, by the way, the 7700X3D is the minimum CPU that I would look to if you can't quite stretch the 9800X3D. Well, we could consider this CPU with the RTX 5090, which is currently retailing for $4,000 or more. At that point, I would suggest spend all the money, get either a Ryzen 9800X3D or the 9850X3D instead. In particular, the Radeon RX 9070 XT makes a ton of sense right now for its price to performance, and we used the PowerColor Hellhound RX 9070 XT in our build. So what's the best RAM for the Ryzen 7700X3D? Obviously, RAM prices at the time of filming continue to be higher due to the insane AI data center demand for RAM and SSDs. Right now, a 2x8GB kit of DDR5 RAM, so 16GB total, can be found starting around $220 to $240 in the US. Meanwhile, 32GB kits start at just under $400. You can also check for RAM combo deals, which I've linked in the video description. Now, I'm filming this before the retail release of the Ryzen 7700X3D, so it's possible Newegg will offer it with RAM combo deals, so check those links in the video description. I'm also going to link our global RAM combo deals spreadsheet for those of you outside the US. You can also get combo deals in-store at your local Micro Center if you have one nearby. The good news here, the Ryzen 7700X3D has so much Vcache, it really doesn't care about the RAM speed the way a Ryzen 7700X would. So you should feel free to get any DDR5 5200, CL40, or faster kit. How much RAM does your Ryzen 7700X3D gaming PC build need in 2026? The good news here, 16GB of RAM, it's still largely fine for gaming, with only occasional microsetters and a handful of AAA titles like Hogwarts Legacy. But if you can't afford 32GB or you find a really good combo deal, this is a worthy investment as it is an upper mid-range to high-end gaming PC build. Now just remember, we want a 2-stick kit as 4 sticks does not work well with DDR5 memory controllers at the speeds we want, and you'll want to jump into the BIOS and enable either XMP or Expo one-click auto overclocking profiles to get the full rated speed. All AM5 motherboards that I've seen will use either Expo or XMP timings, and there's really no performance difference between them, though AMD is coming out with a new version of Expo that they claim a 4% higher performance difference. So what's the best motherboard for the Ryzen 7700X3D in 2026? Well, you can check out our best Ryzen motherboard 2026 video for a full range of options. Now, a lot of RAM combo deals are actually going to come with motherboards. Those are generally fine for a Ryzen 7700X3D, but if you are buying your own motherboard, what should you look for? A620 and B840 are cut-down motherboards that don't allow the use of AMD's auto overclocking feature called Precision Boost Overdrive, or PBO for short. And they cost almost as much as regular B650, B650E, or B850 motherboards, which are generally what we're looking for. All the X870 and X870E, along with all the B650E, and most, but not all B850 motherboards have a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot. It's still doubtful whether this is ever going to be a useful feature, as even an RTX 5090 runs just fine on PCIe Gen 4, but if you can get it for free, my advice is just take it. But if you do find a deal on a B650 motherboard, that's likely fine as well. For those of you wondering about ASRock motherboards, I did a whole video at the beginning of 2026 analyzing data on previous X3D failures, and I feel that ASRock has fixed their issues. And it's clear from the data there was never any ASRock specific issue with these 7000 series X3D parts like the 7800 X3D anyway. So feel free to grab an ASRock motherboard, just remember to update it to the latest BIOS. Now motherboard prices have seen big drops in 2026. Value picks start around $100 in the US and they include basic audio, 2 to 3 M.2 slots, decent but not amazing VRMs, and solid but not amazing rear panel USB connectivity. The ASRock B850M-X, it's a great budget AM5 motherboard with 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, and 2 USB 2.0 ports. 2 M.2 NVMe SSD slots, nice black styling for about $100, with a currently kind of overpriced Wi-Fi version at $130. You'll find a ton of options around $140, including Wi-Fi, like the Gigabyte B850M Eagle Wi-Fi with 4 high-speed USB ports, including a Type-C, 4 USB 2.0 ports, a built-in rear I/O shield, and decent VRMs with 2 M.2 SSD slots for about $130 to $140. For a little bit more, you can get the Gigabyte B850M Gaming X, slightly better VRMs and a more gamery styling. MSI has their Pro B850M-P with similar specs for $146, but at the time of filming, they also have their more impressive B850M-A for $149 with tons of high-speed USB ports. ASRock has a number of motherboards like the B850M Pro-A with good features, and its new Challenger refresh with Wi-Fi, a built-in rear I/O shield, 6 high-speed USB ports and 2 USB 2.0 ports, along with nice styling and 2 M.2 NVMe's for $130. Now moving over to the mid-range, which is often outmatched by huge deals on more premium motherboards, so double check those links down in the video description before you buy one. There are often deals on good mid-range motherboards like the Gigabyte B850 Eagle for $160 right now, with decent rear USB connections and 3 M.2 SSD slots, though one is only half bandwidth. There's also the X870 version of this motherboard for just another $10 more, but it's not a huge upgrade compared to the premium B850s we're going to go over. The MSI B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi, which is now on sale for $150, comes with similar features to the B850M-P, but adds a third M.2 NVMe SSD slot and comes in both black and white versions. There's also a Pro version of this motherboard that is actually more like a B650 because it lacks a PCIe Gen 5 GPU slot, but it does have faster rear USB ports. Now, ASRock's B850 Pro-A, another great motherboard with 4 M.2 SSD slots, though one is half bandwidth, along with 6 high-speed USB ports and 6 USB 2.0 ports for about $140. The Asus B850 and B650E Max Gaming Wi-Fi motherboards, they're also fine, but with weaker features. They usually sell for $140 to $160. And sometimes the mid-range tough B850-E motherboard also goes on sale. Right now it's $150. For premium motherboards, we're looking for 3 full bandwidth M.2 drives with at least 2 having heat sinks, a built-in rear I/O plate with good USB connectivity, upgraded audio codec to ALC 1200, 1220, or 4080, strong VRMs, and of course we want it to look amazing. Now pricing for these motherboards has been as low as $140 to $160 this year, though right now most are sitting closer to $170 to $200. My current top pick is the motherboard that we actually used in our build, the Asus TUF B650E-Plus with upgraded ALC 1220 audio, 3 full bandwidth M.2 NVMe SSD slots with covers, decent but not amazing rear USB connectivity, and Wi-Fi 6E. I also think it looks fantastic and it's a great deal right now. The B850 TUF version ups the speed of the 4 USB 2.0 ports so they're all fast and adds Wi-Fi 7. It's usually priced around $200, but right now it's an eye-watering $225. ASRock has the X870 Phantom Gaming and X870 Steel Legend for right around $170. They're quite feature-packed motherboards with rear USB connectivity, great VRMs, upgraded audio, and 3 M.2 SSD slots, or you can grab one of their micro-ATX Phantom Gaming B850M or Steel Legend B850M for just $150. The MSI B850 Tomahawk, another good option which is on sale right now for as little as $180, has great USB connectivity along with nice styling. And from Gigabyte, we've got the very impressive B850 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi motherboard that we used in our 7800X3D build guide earlier this year, coming in around $200, but often it does go on sale. So check those links in the video description because a lot of these motherboards do go on sale regularly. So what's the best CPU cooler for the Ryzen 7700X3D in 2026? Well, we want to enable Precision Boost Overdrive. That's AMD's one-click auto overclocking feature in the BIOS to get the best performance. Now for that, we need at least a dual tower air cooler or a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler. For more value-focused builds, great air coolers are available in either black or white, starting around $30 with the id Cooling A620 Pro SE, the Thermalright Phantom Spirit or Peerless Assassin, which is what we used in our build, for just around $35, and it comes in a variety of styles, including a new digital version with CPU and GPU temperature readouts. Other air coolers include the Cooler Master 620S or Be Quiet Pure Rock Pro 3LX for around $50. We specifically used the Thermalright Phantom Spirit SE120 ARGB version in our build, and in a 10-minute all-core Cinebench stress test, the CPU average temperature never got above 76 degrees, which is pretty impressive given it has an 89-degree thermal throttle limit. If you do want to take the build aesthetics to the next level, just about any 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler is sufficient. And while 360mm coolers are a bit overkill, they look and perform amazing. Not to mention their prices have really fallen this year. Coolers I recommend include the budget Thermalright Aqua Elite V6 or Sama L70, starting around $45 for the 240mm and $55 for the 360. If you want more performance, the id Cooling FX360 is a great cooler and comes with an LCD screen for about $90, or you can grab the Montech Hyperflow or Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro for around the same price. So let's talk about the best SSD for the Ryzen 7700X3D. If you haven't had a chance to watch our best SSD for gaming 2026 video, it is linked down in the video description under our How to Build a PC playlist if you want a deeper dive. Now SSD storage, obviously, it's the other major pain point in 2026. Prices have come up from about $60 per terabyte late last year to about $140 per terabyte at the time of filming. My advice here, double down on not overspending. While a drive with DRAM cache is nice when you regularly do large file writes, most users, you just don't do this very often. So my advice, just get the storage that you need, and a DRAM-less PCIe Gen 3 or Gen 4 NVMe SSD can be picked up for between $140 and $160 depending on your market, like the Patriot P400 Lite for $150 right now. Now note there is a sizable discount on a per terabyte basis for getting a 2 terabyte drive instead of two 1 terabyte drives, and again, an additional savings on a per terabyte basis for a 4 terabyte drive as opposed to two 2 terabyte drives. So if you need that much storage, get a single high capacity drive rather than separate drives. And I'll leave some good values linked down in the video description. All right, let's talk about the PC case. What we want here is good airflow, but we really don't want to overspend too much, and we want it to look amazing. Since we're likely using a higher end GPU, we're going to look to step up from the most basic budget PC cases, or we're going to look at adding some additional fans. Most cases today come in either black or white options, so you can customize your build. Micro ATX options can be had for as little as about $50, starting with a Fantex XT-M3 with 2 intake and 1 exhaust fan. Other great options for under $60 include the Okono Cypress 3 in ARGB and a wood non-RGB version, or the Lian V100R Mini Micro ATX case for just $65 with 4 included ARGB fans, and it looks incredible. Speaking of which, the ATX size options include the Lian V100R ATX size case that we used in our build here, which has 4 PWM ARGB fans along with an ARGB light bar at the bottom of the case. And it's my absolute favorite case of 2026. If you want more of a traditional front intake PC case, the Montech XR Wood is a great option for about $79, or the Corsair 4000D Frame RS with 3 included ARGB fans for about $89. You will of course need 1 additional exhaust fan for that case. All right, let's talk about the power supply, or PSU for short. Now, if you haven't seen our How to Buy a PSU 2026 guide, we cover how to size and buy the best unit for your build, based on unit quality, not the crazy 80 plus ratings. I'm going to leave it linked down in the video description. Basically, I take the rated power draw and PC part picker of all the components. I then multiply that by 1.5 to get the minimum wattage. For a build like this, given the high-end GPUs that we're considering for it, I recommend getting at least a B tier or better PSU as rated on the new SPL PSU tier list. If you're using an NVIDIA GPU with a 12-volt high power connector, I would recommend getting at least an ATX 3.0 PSU and try not to bend the connector in a way that puts stress on the connection point itself, though this can be a challenge much of the time. We went with the ASRock Steel Legend 850 watt, which is an A-tier rated unit. It's fully modular with ribbon-style cables that are pretty easy to work with, and it's generally one of the cheapest A-tier rated units on the market in the US. I put together 2 build templates to get you started. Now, the first is a mid-range, value-focused build that uses the Ryzen 7700X3D at its $329 MSRP with a mid-range air cooler, mid-range micro ATX size motherboard, one of the current cheapest 16GB kits of RGB RAM, a 1TB budget NVMe SSD, an affordable micro ATX PC case, and a B-tier rated 850 watt PSU on the SPL PSU tier list. Without the GPU included, the build cost is just under $1,000 US. For a more premium build, we went with a 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler, upgraded the motherboard to a more premium B850 model for $180, went with 32GB of DDR5 RGB RAM, we went with a premium ATX size PC case, upgraded the PSU to a 1000 watt A-tier rated unit, and used the same SSD for right around $1,300 before the cost of the GPU. Of course, you can spend a lot more with additional M.2 storage, even more premium motherboards and PC cases, and higher wattage PSUs, but those templates should get you started, and I'm going to leave both of them linked down in the video description for you to check out along with alternative parts. And our How to Build a PC playlist that includes our guide on how to build a PC and set up your PC after you build. If you got value out of this video, please do give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel, and subscribe for more cool PC content. And we'll catch you on the next one.